On Christmas Day, my dad gave me a golden apple. My roommates gasped in envy and immediately demanded I treat them to a meal. I smiled and agreed. I told them to head out first and that I'd join them shortly. When I came out of the bathroom, the dorm was empty. Sharon Everton's laptop was still glowing. I walked over to shut it down. That's when a WhatsApp group named Anti-Gold Digger Alliance popped up on the screen. No wonder she didn't come back last night. She spent the whole night escorting again, just to get that golden apple. A designer bag the day before, a golden apple today. With how many men she's serving every day, I wonder how wrecked she is down there. We have to hit her with a big bill today. Her money is dirty anyway. Spending it for her is basically doing a good deed there. Four people in the dorm, 3 of them were in that group chat. There was no doubt that they were talking about me. The friends I treated with genuine kindness all this time turned out to be ungrateful snakes. The messages in the WhatsApp group kept coming. My fingers trembled with anger. As I scrolled up and read every insult they've thrown at me, I noticed the group was created last September. The very first message was from Sharon Everton. Did you guys notice our roommate, Esther Lane, got picked up by different men in different luxury cars 2 days in a row? Also, everything she wears is designer. I heard even before coming to college that some girls become escorts for money. Never thought we'd have one in our own dorm. We should stay away from her. Don't want to catch whatever she's got. The way they looked at me when I first moved in had always felt off. Back then, I thought I was just being paranoid. To get closer to them, I'd often buy them gifts and treat them to meals. Now I realized that in their eyes, I was just a personal ATM. Right then my phone rang. Sharon's cheerful voice came through. Esther, why aren't you here yet? We've been waiting forever. I suppressed my anger and said calmly, you guys go ahead. Her tone turned even more chirpy. All right then, don't mind if we do. It wasn't the first time this happened. Whenever I was late, they'd order first and leave me to cover the bill after they were done eating. I'd heard of the restaurant they went to today. The minimum spend was $25. I'd like to see how they plan to pay for that. An hour later, the 3 of them pushed the door open and marched in angrily. Sharon snapped, Esther Lane, if you were in the dorm, why didn't you answer our calls? Mary Carlson added, the restaurant owner almost reported us to the police because we couldn't pay. I looked at them in disappointment. But you made it back just fine, didn't you? Sharon clenched her jaw. The bill was $4,500. We each took out a $150 loan online just to pay for it. She displayed her bank account number front of my face. Whatever. I won't argue about you being late and embarrassing us. Just pay us back, I snorted. You went out to eat. Why should I pay? She froze. What do you mean? You said you'd treat us. I grabbed her laptop, flipped the screen toward them, and said coldly, I only treat my friends to meals. Do people who insult and badmouth me behind my back count as friends? Under my cold stare, Mary and Celine lowered their heads. They felt too guilty to meet my eyes. Sharon snatched the laptop away. What are you doing snooping through my computer? How rude. If you didn't do anything shady, why would you be afraid? Weren't we right? Weren't those jewelry bags and that golden apple from men you'd slept with? I told her the truth. My dad bought them. She laughed sarcastically. Your sugar daddy, you mean? Stop pretending. I've seen your enrollment form. Both your parents' names were blank. You're obviously an orphan. My father was a well-known businessman in the capital. Since I was kidnapped as a child, I kept his name and my mom's name off my enrollment form. For my own safety. Only people with dirty minds see everything as dirty. Even if I didn't list my parents' names, that doesn't give you the right to slander me. I demand an apology, I exclaimed. Sharon scoffed. You're the one doing disgusting things and you're scared. People apologize to you in your dreams. If you hadn't been throwing money at us all this time, we wouldn't even be friends. With a gold digger like you who sells her body. Now transfer the money to us, or you'll regret it. These people were hopeless. Even saying another word to them felt like I was lowering my standards. I stood up from my bed and looked down at her. From now on, I won't spend another cent on you, and we're not friends anymore. I'm applying to switch dorms tomorrow. Never wrestle with a pig. You both get dirty, and the pig likes it. That's the difference between people and animals. I walked out of the dorm directly. I heard Mary and Celine's panicked voices behind me. Sharon, you said she'd definitely pay us back for the meal. That's why we took the online loans with you. What do we do now? If my parents find out I spent $25 on one meal, they'll kill me. Sharon watched me leave and said furiously, don't worry, make her pay for this one way or another. That was an empty threat. As long as I refused, she wouldn't get a single dollar from me. That night, I stayed at the apartment my dad, David Lane, bought for me. The next day, I went to college as usual. The moment I walked onto campus, I noticed many people were stealing glances at me. Whispers followed me everywhere. I can't believe she's that kind of person. The more innocent they look, the wilder they are. That coat she's wearing, it's Chanel's latest. The rumors on the campus forum must be true. I retrieved my phone to check the campus forum. My entire body was shaking from anger. Sharon actually spread dirty rumors about me on the campus forum. A golden apple on Christmas Day exposed our fake friendship. She accused me of flaunting wealth with a golden apple on Christmas Day and scamming them out of an expensive meal. They said I accepted rides to and from campus every day, from different men. Even the clothes I had on and the expensive stuff I owned were gifts I received in exchange for selling my body. Enraged, I immediately contacted the campus counselor, Gary Jackson, in his office. He criticized me sternly. "Mister, your personal behavior has seriously damaged the college's reputation. I'm issuing you a formal warning. Watch your conduct." I stared at him in disbelief. "Mr. Jackson, you're mistaken. I'm the victim here. She's spreading false rumors about me online. Why are you blaming me?" Instead of questioning her, Gary glanced at me and said, "Rumors don't come out of nowhere. If you hadn't behaved inappropriately, nobody would have spread those rumors about you." Sharon smirked beside him. "Mr. Jackson, you're right. She behaved inappropriately. First, she even refused to pay me back for a meal. I only exposed her because I was angry. If she pays me $4,500, I'll delete the post immediately." I argued. "They chose to eat there. Why should I pay?" Gary cut me off. "That's enough, Esther. Transfer the money to Sharon right now and apologize to her. And Sharon, delete your post on the campus forum. This ends right here, right now. Nobody is allowed to bring it up again." Sharon looked at me with a victorious smile on her face. That explained why Sharon was able to see my enrollment information. They were working together. I said furiously, "Why should I apologize to her? You're a counselor. A student came to you for help, but you can't even discern right from wrong. You failed at your job. You're unworthy of being a counselor." Gary glared at me coldly. "You can judge me when you're in my position, if ever. Right now, you're a student and you need to obey my orders. Mr. Lane is donating $1.5 million in scholarship funds to the college. I'll punish anyone who stirs up trouble during his visit." His words reminded me that my dad would be coming to make a donation tomorrow. Sharon and the others' families weren't well off. I was worried helping them directly would hurt their pride. That's why I asked my dad to provide financial aid to poor students on campus under his company's name. They each received $1,500 every semester. Now I was certain they no longer needed this money. Seeing how Sharon and Gary gave each other knowing looks, I knew I wouldn't get justice here. I said coldly, "I won't transfer her any money. If she doesn't delete that post, I'll file a report at the police station for slandering me." With that, I turned around and walked out of the office to call my dad. Soon after my call ended, I saw that the post disappeared, but it was replaced with something misleading. "I'm just a migrant worker's child. I can't afford to offend someone backed by powerful men. Just pretend you didn't see what I said earlier." Instantly, people rallied behind her. What's wrong with being a migrant worker's child? A few generations ago, everyone came from a similar background. Stay strong, Sharon. We're all migrant workers, children, and we've got your back. Esther is a toxic girl. Expel her. I clenched my fists and switched off my phone. I returned to the dorm to pack up and move to my apartment outside. But I saw Sharon and the others throwing my belongings into the hallway. I quickly stepped forward to protect my stuff. I started yelling at them. "What are you doing? Who let you touch my stuff?" I demanded. Sharon clapped her hands and looked at me. "You stink of filth." We couldn't stand it any longer. "Did you want to move out? We're giving you a hand." I glared at her angrily. Sharon smirked, not happy. "Why don't you run along and complain to your old and ugly sugar daddies? Tell them to come. Let's see if they can stop so many of us on campus." I glanced at my stuff on the floor and then at the hallway camera. "Let's see if you can still be this arrogant tomorrow." I gathered my stuff and left the campus. The next day, all students and lecturers gathered and waited for the donation ceremony to begin. The donation would come from my father. Just as I was about to sit down, Sharon blocked me. "You know what day it is. Why would someone like you even dare show up here?" I couldn't be bothered to argue with her. Once my dad arrived, he'd stand up for me. I reached out and shoved her aside. "Move." After being pushed away, she turned to the crowd and shouted, "It's a big day for our college's scholarship recipients. Each one of us has it hard in life and needs financial aid. She's a shameless gold digger who showed up here in designer brands. It'll only affect our college's reputation. Let's work together and kick her out. Thanks to Sharon's post on the campus forum yesterday, many people already despise me. Now that they heard her egging them on, they immediately started throwing bottles and trash at me. You're not welcome here. Get out. Get out. I raised my hands to block the incoming debris while backing away, one step at a time. Amidst the chaos, Sharon grabbed my hair and started dragging me outside. Wretch, I know what you're thinking. Don't even think about complaining to the school management. Hurry up and get lost. My scalp hurt intensely. I reached out and grabbed Sharon. We started throwing punches. The students around us saw this, and someone immediately stepped forward to help Sharon. By pinning me down and beating me up, I felt pain all over my body. That was when I heard a furious roar. Let go of my daughter. The roar that echoed through the auditorium didn't just stop the fight. It seemed to stop time itself. David Lane, a man whose face was usually reserved for the covers of Forbes and Wall Street Journal, was currently sprinting down the center aisle. Behind him, a phalanx of 6 suit-clad bodyguards moved with terrifying efficiency, clearing a path through the stunned students. Sharon, who still had her hand twisted in my hair, froze. Her eyes bulged. She knew that face. Everyone in the country knew that face. But her brain couldn't make the connection between the golden apple girl she had been bullying and the titan of industry charging toward her. Let go of her, David screamed again, his voice cracking with a father's desperation. One of the bodyguards reached the stage first. With a single, firm grip, he detached Sharon's hand from my hair and sent her stumbling back. I collapsed onto the floor, my face bruised, my designer coat stained with juice and dirt. Esther. My father fell to his knees beside me, his trembling hands framing my face. My God, Esther. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I wasn't here sooner. The auditorium was so silent you could hear the hum of the air conditioning. Then, a camera shutter clicked. Then another. Mr. Lane? Gary Jackson, the counselor, stepped forward, his face a ghostly shade of gray. He was sweating profusely. Mr. Lane, there's been a terrible misunderstanding. This girl, she... David Lane stood up. He wasn't a tall man, but in that moment he looked like a giant. He turned to Gary, his eyes cold enough to freeze blood. You, David said, his voice low and dangerous. You are the counselor I spoke with on the phone? The one who told me my daughter was disturbing the peace. Gary's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. Daughter? No, sir. The record said she was an orphan. She's been behaving inappropriately with men. David's lead bodyguard, a man named Marcus, stepped forward and handed David a tablet. David swiped through it. It was a live feed of the campus forum. My daughter, David said, projecting his voice so every student in the room could hear, is the sole heir to the Lane Group. The men you saw her with were her uncles, her cousins, and my own personal security detail. The luxury cars are registered to my estate. He looked at Sharon, who was trembling so hard she looked like she might faint. And you, David said, pointing a finger at her. You are Sharon Everton. You've been receiving a $1,500 monthly scholarship from my foundation. A foundation built on the memory of Esther's grandmother. Sharon let out a small, strangled whimper. The donation ceremony is cancelled, David announced, looking at the university dean who had just hurried onto the scene. In fact, I am withdrawing all current funding, and I will be seeing every single person who laid a hand on my daughter in court. Starting with you, Counselor Jackson. I was moved to the campus infirmary, though my father insisted on bringing in his private doctors. The room was filled with the scent of lilies, my favorite, and the quiet clicking of Marcus's laptop as he compiled evidence. I wanted to be normal, Dad, I whispered, holding a cold compress to my cheek. I just wanted to see if I could make friends without the Lane name. David sat by my bed, his face etched with guilt. I know, honey, but some people see light and only want to dim it. I should have protected you better. There was a knock on the door. It was Mary and Celine. They looked terrified, their eyes red from crying. Esther? Mary whispered. We didn't know. We were just following Sharon. She told us if we didn't help her, she'd make the school hate us too. I looked at them. These were the girls I had bought dinners for. The girls I had treated like sisters. You saw the group chat, I said, my voice flat. You saw the anti-gold digger alliance Sharon created in September. You didn't just follow her. You enjoyed it. You enjoyed the free meals while calling me a whore behind my back. We'll pay you back, Celine sobbed. Please, tell your father not to sue us. Our families are poor, Esther, you know that. You weren't too poor to spend $4,500 on a meal you expected me to pay for. I reminded them. Marcus stepped forward. Mississippi Lane, we've finished the digital sweep of Sharon Everton's laptop and phone, which we legally flagged as evidence in the assault case. We found something you might want to see. He turned the screen toward me. My heart sank as I scrolled. It wasn't just about me. Sharon had been running a pay-to-play scheme. She had been slandering other girls in the dorm, then offering to help them clear their names if they did her assignments or gave her money. But the biggest bombshell was a series of messages between Sharon and Gary Jackson. Sharon, she's on to us about the scholarship money. If she tells her dad, we're done. Gary, don't worry. I've flagged her file. I'll make sure she's expelled for immoral conduct before she can say a word. Just keep the students riled up. My father's grip tightened on the arm of his chair. They weren't just bullying you, Esther. They were embezzling scholarship funds meant for underprivileged students. They used you as a scapegoat because you were the only one wealthy enough to make their gold digger narrative stick. The next morning, the campus was in an uproar. The Lane Group's legal team had filed a $50 million defamation and personal injury lawsuit. But I didn't want to just win in court. I wanted them to feel the weight of the reputation they had tried to destroy. I posted for the first time on the campus forum. No long paragraphs, just a link to a cloud drive and one sentence. The truth is never dirty. Only the minds that invent the lies. The drive contained the screenshots of the group chat, the logs between Sharon and Gary, and the receipts of every meal and gift I had bought them. It also included the bank records Marcus had uncovered, showing Sharon transferring scholarship money into her personal account to buy the very designer bags she accused me of escorting for. The tide turned instantly. The anti-gold digger alliance became the Everton-Jackson fraud ring. Sharon tried to flee. She packed her bags and tried to leave the dorm in the middle of the night, but she was met at the gates by the police. Because I had filed a formal report for the assault and the embezzlement of foundation funds, she was taken away in handcuffs. As she was being led to the police car, she saw me standing by my father's Rolls Royce. Esther, she screamed, her face distorted. You ruined my life. You have everything. Why couldn't you just let me have this? I didn't ruin your life, Sharon, I said calmly. I just stopped paying for your lies. You chose to bite the hand that fed you. Now you can see how dirty the prison food tastes. 2 weeks later, the university held a special assembly. Gary Jackson had been fired and was facing criminal charges for fraud. The dean was on stage looking humbled and terrified. My father and I stood in the wings. Do you want to go out there? He asked. I nodded. I was wearing a simple white dress, no Chanel, no jewelry, just me. When I walked onto the stage, the room went silent. These were the same students who had thrown trash at me. Many of you called me a gold digger, I said into the microphone. Many of you believed that a woman's success or clothes must be paid for by her body. That's a reflection of your own insecurities, not my reality. I paused, looking at the empty seats where Sharon, Mary, and Celine used to sit. Mary and Celine hadn't been arrested, but they had been expelled and were now being sued for the return of the $4,500 meal and all previous gifts. My father is reinstating the scholarship, I continued, but with a new condition. It will no longer be managed by the school counselor. It will be managed by a student-led board that requires transparency and character references. I am donating the $4,500 that Sharon Everton tried to scam from me to start a fund for victims of campus cyberbullying. The applause started slowly, then grew into a roar. As we left the campus for the last time, I was transferring to a better university in the capital. I saw a familiar glint on the dashboard of the car. It was the golden apple. I picked it up. It was heavy and pure. You know, Dad, I said, smiling as the campus faded into the distance. Sharon was right about one thing. This apple did expose a fake friendship. And, David asked, and it was the best gift you ever gave me. It showed me that the Lane name isn't my shield, my own strength is. My father laughed, a sound of pure pride. That's my girl. The car sped away, leaving the shadows of the anti-gold digger alliance in the dust. I looked at my phone one last time. A message from an unknown number, likely Mary or Celine, begging for a second chance. I didn't block them. I didn't reply. I simply deleted the message and turned off the screen. Some people weren't worth the data it took to acknowledge them. I had a new life to start, and this time, the golden apple was mine to keep.